Hi, I'm a cosplayer. My name is Richard, and as you can see, I'm cosplaying Ser Barristan Selmy from Game of Thrones. The costume designer was Michelle Clapton. The actor was Ian McElhinney. And I'm going to quickly discuss, try to make it as compact as possible, quickly discuss all the items. So he has a cloak, obviously he only wears on the very first scene when you see him. And then, so let me actually take that off. It has this very long strap that has to be dealt with. Very long strap. Then he has a leather jerkin, and underneath that is a sleeveless, I guess a long waistcoat. It has a high collar. It comes down a little past the knees, kind of like a kilt length, and split down the front and the back, obviously for riding on horseback. And then under that is a shirt that's kind of a taupish brown, which you can only see the sleeves of, and then under the black collar you can see a little bit of this. I don't know if it's supposed to be a scarf or if it's part of the shirt. It's the same color. I just had a dickie made. So I'm always thinking of practicality of things that will be cool, easy to put on. Also, I'm in my 60s, and so I want something comfortable. And so I had the black thing with the collar, the long thing, and the sleeves made in one piece. It's actually a single garment. So I only have, that's the only thing I'm wearing under the leather jerkin. And this garment was made for me, and the cloak, by a woman named Donna George in Stockton, California. She's Trini Kwan on eBay. Now the leather jerkin, and she was great to work with. She knew exactly what I was talking about, and she's quick and she's inexpensive. Awesome. I also had very good luck with the leather jerkin. I found a woman named Stephanie Phoenix on Etsy. Her company's called Stardust and Sparkles. She's in Bristol, England. She knew exactly what I wanted. She's done a lot of reenacting things, and it has very distinctive, it's laced on the side and the top. It's got these little short kind of sleeves with these seams and a waist seam. She did everything, and also split down the middle. Now all of these things, this shirt I re-dyed it some to try to get the color. Barristan wears two different ones. In the famous sword fight scene at the end, he's wearing a pale, like steel gray one. But the first scene we first see him where he's wearing the cloak, it's this kind of brownish taupish color, and I decided to go with that. And I changed my mind because I first had her make it light and I changed it to dark. Now, the sleeves, the cuffs, look like they're just bound in cord. And I wanted something easy to put on, so I'm just using scrunchies that I can put on and they'll stay in place and they're not going to come untied and so forth. And likewise, this came with all these laces, leather. I replaced them with elastic. Funky looking, they're not seen under the cloak, and I can just slip it on without having to tie anything, which was what I wanted to do. Now about the swords and belts. The actual sword, and all the Game of Thrones characters are like this, the sword wraps around and kind of becomes the scabbard in a complex way. Now all these Game of Thrones things, you'll notice that they weave them through like that and they come down. And take them off. You have to kind of go like that first, and then unbuckle them. So it's kind of a process to unbuckle the belts. But I wanted to do this to show you. I'm worried about showing up at a Comic-Con and being told I can't bring my sword in. So mine is not accurate. Mine just slips through a slot in the belt. The sword started off life as a Jon Snow sword. It came with this on the pommel. I cut that off. I put on this foam pommel from a different sword. It doesn't actually have a separate sword and scabbard. I just covered the blade itself with cloth. It's some kind of tapestry on the handle, and this, I found a really close tapestry just at a local fabric shop. I dyed it a little bit to get the right color. I made these out of foam, made this leather, and of course on the actual thing, these leather pieces are the belt coming, but I wanted to be able to remove it in case I show up and they say, oh, you can't have that sword here, and then I can still walk around this and leave my sword behind. And I bound this with cord. And these lace through, and there's a little stud that holds in place like that. It's interesting. The only ends just kind of hang loose. That's how it's made. Now the belt itself, this buckle has an interesting history. The Mountain wears the same buckle the way it comes, and I got it on Etsy, and it's called like a pirate buckle or something. And also Rob Roy, in the film Rob Roy, Liam Neeson has the same buckle. But for Ser Barristan, the costumers modified it a bit. They shaped it, they drilled 4 holes in it, so I had to do the same process to get this accurate. This is just a button, and I did a lot of tooling, and I go, I'm never going to find this, oh, these are, grommets, and then these little chapes or ends, and they're riveted on, you can find online. There's a place called, I think it's called Make Your Own Medieval, and with the tooling, I go, where am I going to find the tooling? Well, it turns out that there's a Celtic stamp set from Tandy Leather, and one of the stamps in that set is the one that they used for Ser Barristan's outfit. And I was going to say, a lot of the weathering that I've done on the leather and the jerkin and the belts and things, I've just used Liquitex, mostly black and burnt umber is my kind of go-tos. Then there's a narrower belt, which in actual fact are one continuous belt, but I made them separate ones for ease of putting on. The narrower belt holds the dagger or dirk. Now, I could never find the correct screen accurate buckle. That's the closest I could find. Once again, I didn't want an actual knife that I would be banned from taking to a Comic-Con. So what I did is, I'd never worked with Sculpey before, but for this, I just created a one-piece prop out of Sculpey. You don't see his knife, his dagger, very much. In some scenes it looks jet black, the metal. Other scenes look gleaming, like brass. I kind of went down the middle then and sort of made it sort of a bronze. And it's got a horn handle, which this is just Sculpey that I've painted look like horn. And once again, there's no separate knife. It's just one continuous piece. And I made the frog that it goes in. And you can do the laces. It has laces that go around to tie it on. Then the one last thing is the boots. And I'll show you sort of what the boots look like. These boots are the inexpensive Phantasma vinyl boots. And there was an online tutorial about Jedi boots, about weathering them, the vinyl boots. And so I took a sponge and I modeled to make did some stippling in different shades of reddish brown and different shades of brown, and then came back with the dust. These were originally made for my Alan Buttermain, Sean Connery outfit, and his boots are really dusty. So that's where I like this. And since then I've used these for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm now using them for Ser Barristan. They're just handy boots. And I think that'll do that for the introduction.